I went along with this argument for the sake of you telling me how it came to a man in a cave.
I'm trying to do that.
And we're yet to get there. We're yet to get there.
Bro, in order for us to get there,
I'm waiting.
In order for us to get there, we agree the best thing we can do is apply logical deduction.
Based on what we know.
Based on what we agreed on. We agreed on a premise so far.
You agreed it would decide.
We agreed on a premise. We agreed on hypothetical premises. You said certain things. You said infinite force will, hypothetically, and you said it can decide how it wants to pass the message. Those were your terms. Now I'm asking you, how would you then reject if it decided to send that message through men?
I couldn't reject it.
Is it fair to go by what is most probable?
Yeah, of course.
That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing.
But
now,
is it most probable though?
Huh?
Just because you could have been contained within a bubble that's this big, and everything that you've experienced in the bubble that's this big. However, outside this bubble is something that is 5,000 times bigger than it. You haven't gone outside that bubble, but you've made a decision based on everything inside that bubble. So that's your probability, and then your probability goes, and you get into the outside room and like, oh my God, what I knew or what I thought I knew inside that bubble isn't really, because you start to learn things from the other 5,000 bubbles.
There is nothing wrong with assuming that there must be a purpose to this universe as well.
No problem at all.
No problem at all.
No problem.
All right.
This is called an argument from ignorance. I just want you to know. It's called the argument from ignorance, because you are arguing a point based on your ignorance. You know what ignorance is? Not knowing things. That's what ignorance is. To have lack of knowledge of stuff. You are arguing from ignorance, my friend. And that is what religious people do. They argue from ignorance.
I know you've studied YouTube. I know about all of this language. It's not new to me. Fine, I accept that. Let's go upon it now.
If I'm this thing, to eliminate all the bullshit, I give everyone the message myself. Eliminate all the bullshit. There you go, guys. Everyone get the message. No arguments. Bam, bam, bam. No arguments. Done.
Oh, you should.
No. We shook hands. Now we get to a man in a cave having a convulsion, and that's how everything came to be. You make that make sense to me now. Now you see? Now you got problems, right? No, you got problems now.
Bro,
you have got problems.
Do I?
All right, go. Make that make sense.
All right. Now, if you accept that there are external forces making the universe expand, that external force, does it have to be infinite?
No, hang on. You said, do I accept?
You did. You can't go back on it.
Do I accept the external forces making it? Okay, we accept it. But I also said to you, listen, remember, this is for the sake of argument.
I know you was always going to come up with that. Yeah.
No. This is for the sake of argument.
Fine.
Because before, listen, 20 minutes before, I said I spoke to this guy, said it could be internal.
Fine.
So like I said, I don't know either way.
Let's
I
go.
said that before.
Let's go.
But for the sake of this argument, I would say, great, we agree, it's external.
Let's go.
Now you have to convince me that it came from a man in a cave.
Fine.
Do that.
Okay.
Go.
Now, if we accept that it's an external force,
it's based on an argument now. This is not what I actually
hypothetically, if we accept that it's an external force,
yes,
based on our reasoning alone, or else this conversation will continue forever, does that external force have to be infinite?
I don't know. You are going to have to give me the parameters of it because I don't know it.
Okay.
You have to give me the parameters of it.
The reason I'm saying that it must be infinite is if we don't accept that it's infinite, the question is going to continue. What made this force?
Okay.
What made that force?
Okay.
And we're going to continue forever.
Okay.
And clearly we couldn't have that.
Right.
So we have to have a point where it's an unmovable force.
Right.
So do we agree on infinity then?
We agree. For the sake of argument. Yeah, we agree.
So we agreed on infinity. All right.
We got to the cave, yeah?
All right.
And the convulsion.
So wait. So we have. So wait.
It's not going to happen.
Wait. So for the sake of argument, you've accepted an infinite external force.
Yes.
That made the universe come about.
Yes.
Okay. Now the fact that it made the universe come about, does that indicate it will?
Yes.
It does.
Shake hands.
That indicates agency now.
That
indicates agency now.
Now we have to make sure.
Now you're at God.
Yet, bro.
No.
We haven't got to the cave yet.
No, but wait. But we're at God.
We agreed on 3 things.
We're at God.
Fantastic.
Now, do you acknowledge that is what we define as God?
Hang on, say it again.
That is what we define as God.
Okay.
So we're at God.
Yes, we're at God.
So we've accepted God.
We've accepted God now.
All right, cool.
Now we get to the man in the cave. Go.
Now wait. No.
You're going to have problems. I'm telling you, you're going to have problems. Go on.
Now, if we accept that there's an infinite external force that made the universe come about,
Yes.
now, on what ground?
I can see you struggling. I can see you struggling, bro. I can see you struggling. Go on.
Now, if we made this universe come about, and from what we can observe in this universe, every single thing in this universe has a purpose. Every single thing in the universe. Yes.
What's a black hole's purpose?
I don't know. Does it mean that it doesn't have one?
No, you said everything. No, you made a statement
Yes.
as if you knew something.
Yes.
You said everything in this universe has a purpose.
You done? Okay, you done?
Do you know that?
Going by,
Okay,
I'll acknowledge,
right.
going by what I have experienced,
Right.
everything that I have come across has had a purpose.
Okay.
And I'll argue that everything that you have come across has had a purpose.
Right. But does that mean everything does have one?
But there's no reason not to assume so.
No. You can assume a lot of things. Like I'm saying to you,
Yeah, fine.
can you definitively say that everything has a purpose?
No.
Okay then. So then your argument falls down.
Not necessarily.
It does, because you said everything has a purpose. You said it
We're talking
definitively
about
as
probability.
if that is exactly what it
We're
is.
talking about probability.
We are talking about probability.
Yes. So if everything that you've come across has a purpose,
Yes.
what's wrong in believing that? Probably
No, you have
everything has
you have
a
every
purpose.
right to believe
What's
that.
wrong? But that's all I
It's
did.
logical to believe that.
Sorry, thank you.
Because that's the only thing you've come across.
Thank you. That's what I'm
Totally
doing.
agree.
That's
but
what
are
I'm
there
doing.
things you haven't come across?
Yes.
Okay, so then how have you made a decision based on only the things you've experienced?
I'm going by probability, which is the only thing I can do as a human being.
Okay.
Can we do anything besides going by what's probable?
Yes.
Can we do anything?
Yes, you can.
No, but
Sorry, I didn't listen to you. My phone.
is it fair to go by what is most probable?
Yeah, of course.
That's
it
all
is.
I'm doing.
It's fair.
That's all I'm doing.
But is
Now-
it most probable though? Just because you could have been contained within a bubble that's this big, and everything that you've experienced in the bubble that's this big. However, outside this bubble is something that is 5,000 times bigger than it. You haven't gone outside that bubble, but you've made a decision based on everything inside that bubble. So that's your probability,
same-
and then your probability goes. And you get into the outside room, like, oh my God, what I knew or what I thought I knew inside that bubble isn't really, because you start to learn things from the other 5,000 bubbles.
There was no point arguing this because I've accepted it from the get-go. I told you I don't know everything. Is it possible?
So it's
is it-
feelings now.
But to be fair,
It's just feelings in your heart.
No,
You feel it in your heart.
Now you're being
to be fair,
silly.
you said we can only go by what we know.
We can only go by what we know.
Yes.
So that's what I'm doing.
No, I'm saying we can only go by what we know, but do we know everything?
No.
No, exactly. That's fine.
But I never said it.
Okay, so I'm just trying to show you.
Yeah.
If you can go by just what you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, this is the same reason why I don't accept Allah, because I said to you, we have not studied everything within inside the universe, or we say within, to come to a definitive conclusion. That is why I haven't come to a conclusion yet. Do you understand?
I know, but you know where we're at. Let's not go back.
All right, go on.
All right?
Go on.
Because we're going to try to get to the caveman.
So
that
we're
you have
going
an
to try and
issue
get to the caveman.
That you have an issue
Yeah,
with.
let's get to the caveman.
All right. Now, if we accept the premise of an infinite cause
Yeah.
with a will, which is God, and we accept that as human beings, most things that we come across have a purpose,
Yes.
there is nothing wrong with assuming that there must be a purpose to this universe as well.
No problem at all.
No problem at all.
No problem.
All
Do you know what
right.
this is called an argument from ignorance. I just want you to know. It's called the argument from ignorance, because you are arguing a point based on your ignorance. You know what ignorance is? Not knowing things. That's what ignorance is. To have lack of knowledge of stuff. You are arguing from ignorance, my friend. And that is what religious people do. They argue from ignorance.
I know you've studied YouTube. I know about all of this language. It's not new to me. Fine, I accept that. Let's go upon it now. Bottom line, no, but he's using those words. I
but then-
accept
It's
that.
an argument from ignorance, bro.
But then you can say science is ignorant as well.
If we agreed that we can,
Nobody knows everything.
what?
The religious people go by ignorance. Who said that?
No, I know, but I don't want to open up another. I don't want to open up another bubble. Wait.
Yeah, there's another 5,000 of them, bro.
What about them? No.
Bottom line,
Yeah.
we've agreed on certain premises.
Right.
Let's not go outside of that premises because
So
this is
you
all
say all the
hypothetical.
religious people are
You've got
ignorant.
nothing to lose.
That's atheism. Pride. Atheism is based on
Going
pride.
by the probability.
They believe that they know more than
Going by the
everybody.
probability now.
And if they don't know,
there
then
is
everybody
nothing
doesn't know
wrong
it.
in assuming
Atheism.
that this universe also has a purpose, no?
Nothing wrong.
Okay. Now, if we accept that this universe has a purpose and there's an infinite creator behind it,
Yeah.
what is wrong in assuming that he also wants a purpose for us human beings?
Nothing wrong with assuming that.
Nothing wrong with that. Okay, cool. Now,
Where's the man in the cave? That's what I want to know. I want to get to.
We should get to that.
Yeah, we need to get to this man in the cave.
this is what I'm getting to now.
Right, go on.
This is what I'm getting to now. How do we decide? How do we decide?
Yeah, how?
Because you have a problem
Yes.
with, as far as Abrahamic people are concerned,
Yes.
that there were men that were given this message.
Yes.
You have a problem with that?
Yes.
Okay. How do we decide your finite self what that infinite force can do? How does that infinite force tell us how to live, according to you?
By using my own brain,
By using your own brain.
which becomes what? Subjective.
So if we go by using your own brain,
Yeah.
are you telling me
Yeah.
there is no part of your brain that ever thinks to itself, you know what, there might be a God, you know?
Yes.
Oh, so he did do that then.
What do you mean?
So he did do that part. The part where
What,
you
my
said,
brain?
the part where you said we should be able to use our brain.
Yeah.
If we accepted that that infinite force created us and everything within it,
Yeah.
and including that whatever makes your brain work,
Uh-huh.
the particular part of your brain that says there might be a God,
Yeah.
he did do that then.
Yeah, it really is a false argument.
Why is it
And I'll
false
tell you why. Because I've said before, it's an argument from ignorance. Because all you're doing is that you're making arguments based off your own ignorance. You're saying because we don't know something, it must be that. Because we don't know that,
What
it must
I
be that.
said-
What I'm trying to say to
What I
you
said was
People
specific.
arguing like this.
Don't speak for me.
How can you
Bro.
prove the infinite by your brain? It's not like that. God is not
Uncle,
just,
please.
it's
Uncle,
not
please.
imagination.
Uncle,
Uncle,
let him
please,
stick to the
one minute.
point.
God is a reality. It's
Let him
not
stick to the point.
imagination. It's
Otherwise,
not
we're gonna
mind.
be all
Uncle,
over the
1
place.
minute.
God is not mind.
Uncle,
It's
it's
a
not
reality.
preaching, it's a
Uncle,
debate.
please, let me just
They're not
speak.
gonna.
Let me speak, please.
Now, where was it? Yeah.
You hit
Now,
the cave.
if
We
you
spent 15 minutes and we ain't even got to the cave yet, you know.
No.
We ain't even got to the cave.
Again, I ask you a very simple question.
If it's going to argue
If
science,
you reject,
argue the cave.
if you reject that infinite force passed a message to men, for us to get that message, I asked you, what way should that infinite force pass that message to us?
Himself.
And you said our brains should be able to do that, right?
No, that's not
What
I
did you
said.
say?
I said we have to use our brains in how we come to the conclusion how that infinite force should pass the message. So I think
So we
it
should
could.
decide.
Yeah.
Argument.
So we should decide
Don't use your
how he
brain.
can do it.
Yes.
That's wrong.
So let me get this
Wrong
straight.
argument.
So let me get
No,
this
no,
straight.
hang on.
So let me get this
If
straight.
it exists-
Let me get this straight.
Sorry, let me.
So you have an infinite
Hang on, let me
reality.
backtrack. If it decides, it should decide the way it wants to do it.
Okay.
If it exists.
All right. So if it exists,
Yeah.
only it can decide
Yes.
the way it wants to.
Yes,
do it.
because it's itself.
Okay, fine. No. So if it decided
Yes.
that the way I'm gonna pass this message
Yes.
to the people that I've created
Uh-huh.
is through men.
Uh-huh.
On what basis would you reject that?
Because we know men are flawed. So I'm assuming this thing is smart enough to know that men are flawed. And I'm assuming that this thing knows that men can lie, men can deceive, men can do all kinds of things.
Is that all they can
And
do?
they can do all kinds of things. Like I said, all kinds of
They
things.
can also tell
Hang
the
on.
truth.
They can also tell the truth. However,
They can be good.
hang on.
They can be for good.
Listen.
They can do good.
They can do all of that.
Thank you.
All of it.
Don't stick on one.
However,
You have a agenda when you stick on one. It's very important.
However,
Yes.
if I'm this thing,
But you're not.
to eliminate all the bullshit, I give everyone the message myself. Eliminate all the bullshit. There you go, guys. Everyone get the message. No arguments. Bam, bam, bam. No arguments. Done.
Do you then
However,
have, do you, de-
this thing didn't
do,
do
you,
that, did it?
do you then have free will?
Do you then have free will?
Could you argue?
Going too
We're
far.
Could you
bringing in something
argue?
else.
No. You brought out a scenario.
Yes.
You said that infinite force can do whatever it
I've
wants.
timed you. It's been 20 minutes. You
Listen,
talk about a cave.
you said that
I've
infinite
timed
force,
you, bro.
that infinite force can do whatever it wants, and then you decided to say what it should and shouldn't do.
I tell you why it's a false argument from the beginning.
I didn't make any
No,
argument.
I know. No,
Did I make an argument?
No. Listen.
I posit questions.
Listen.
I didn't make any argument.
I went along with this argument.
You're a good speaker.
Remember, I went along with this argument, right? I went along with this argument
No question
for the
was
sake
coming.
of you telling me how it came to a man in a cave.
I'm trying to do
And
that.
we're yet to get there. We're yet to get there.
Bro, in order for us to get there,
I'm waiting.
In order for us to get there, we agree the best thing we can do is apply logical deduction.
based
No.
on, hang on,
No.
based on what we know.
Based on what we agreed on. We agreed on a premise so far.
You agreed it would
We
decide.
agreed on a premise. We agreed on a hypothetical premises. You said certain things. You said infinite force will hypothetically, and you said it can decide how it wants to pass the message. Those were your terms. Now I'm asking you, how would you then reject if it decided to send that message through men?
I couldn't reject it because that's how we decided to do it.
Okay, all right. So you couldn't reject it
I
because
couldn't because that's
how
what
it
we decided to do.
Okay, so how do you then, on what basis,
I'm gonna go to the problem.
on what basis then do you dismiss Moses, Joseph, Jesus, Muhammad, Abraham?
Now you're
all
asking me
that?
something
On what
outside of
basis?
it. Now you're asking me a question outside of this acceptance. Now, you said based on what do I reject Moses, Abraham, da 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 da.
Yes.
Yeah? Now you're asking me a question based on me being outside of the premise that I accepted for you.
No, you can't get out now.
No, listen. But you just asked me a question that facilitates me to go out.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
You
Hang
accepted
on.
the good part.
Yes.
And you accepted
based
that
on
he
your
can pass his message however he wants.
Yes.
So now you
But
need to
now
get to the
ask-
part
no, hang on.
where you can differentiate.
Listen.
That's what you need to
just
get to.
asked me a question that makes me have to go outside to answer it. Ask me questions within what you're speaking about, because you said, how can you now? Because I've accepted it. Remember, I accepted everything you said, which means I'm in the argument with you.
Yeah.
Then you said, how can you not accept? Hang on, you were
you
just
said, how
in
can
it.
you not?
You said what? You
How?
you
On
said
what grounds?
based on what grounds do
Yes.
you not accept? I just said I accepted it. I'm in there with you. You're asking me a question that makes me have to go outside. You gotta talk to me like I've accepted it.
No. You've accepted that God can pass a message.
Yes.
You accepted that there is a God.
Yes.
What you haven't, and this is the part you want to get to Muhammad in the
Yes,
cave, right?
yes, I'm waiting.
In order for you to reject that,
Yes.
you need to have some system that you work on
Yes.
that the Muhammad does not fit in for you to be able to reject it. What is that? How do you?
I don't know.
reject
I'm
it?
in it with you.
So you
I don't know.
So you don't know.
I don't reject it. I'm in it with you. For the sake of this argument, I'm in there. You're asking me a question like I'm not in there with you. I'm in there, bro. I accepted everything you accepted. Everything. Why are you asking me now a question as if I'm not accepting it? I accept it.
So we don't need to discuss Muhammad.
This is what that's what I'm trying to say. But the whole premise of me speaking to you was to wait to see when you got to the cave and how you got to it. Now what's happened is you've already diverted. You've already diverted because before you got to the cave, you asked me, yeah, but why didn't you accept it, bro? You ain't even got to the cave yet.
Grounds do you need to reject it?
Well, what grounds?
What's the point of the crate? Why do you think that
Because
holds any
I'm
particular?
asking you that
Why do you think
question.
that holds any
Listen,
particular?
I'm
Why
asking you
you're
that.
trying to avoid
That's what I'm
the-
trying to say. I'm asking you all of these questions. The initial question was, how do you get to a man in a cave? That's my initial question. And that, but hang on.
Do you want an answer?
Wait.
Do you want an answer? I'll give you an answer.
Go.
I'll give you an answer.
Please.
Hear it.
The reason,
Fantastic.
the way we get to a man in the cave
Yeah.
is simply accepting the premises that you've accepted, which is infinite cause. He can pass his message to whoever he likes.
Okay.
Once you accept that,
Fantastic.
you listen to the message.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying to you? Accept that there's an infinite cause and he can pass his message however he likes, including through men. Once you accept that, you listen to the message.
How do you know that's
You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? How do you know?
Yeah, how do you know?
Oh, that's a good question.
How do you know that's
I can tell you how I know. But first,
Yeah,
I need
now
to-
that becomes
I don't
hypothetical.
have a problem. I don't
Oh,
have a
mate,
problem.
come on, bro.
Shall I tell you how I know?
Yeah. How do you know?
Because it benefits nobody. And it harms
absolutely
nobody.
untrue.
Are you mad?
That's untrue.
Who does it benefit? Who does Islam benefit but me? It's between me and Allah.
Let me just explain.
How does it benefit
Can I
anyone?
just say to you very quickly, I'm going to tell you why you're
Yeah.
disingenuous. Even though I like you as a speaker, yeah, you're disingenuous, and I'm going to tell you the reason why.
That's a statement.
The question is a statement. It is a statement, and I'll go on to the question in just a moment. Sarah has been asking you about the cave. It's very, very important. If you were to say to me, do I accept the notion that whoever it is, or whatever it is, has created this, would whoever it was have the ability to transmit a message if they wish to? I don't know whether there's a God or not, but I'm prepared to accept that none of this is accidental. That's not the problem I have. The problem that I have is the story regarding how Islam came about. It's the only story, it's the only question I have. Everything else that you've said has been very lucid, it's been very intelligent. But I'm saying that you're having a mental blockdown in not accepting what you intelligently know that you should, and it's this. The argument regarding Islam is a very, very simple one. If you believe a message can be transmitted, you understand, I think everybody here would probably say, given the balance of probabilities, it probably could. We would then ask ourselves, how would that message be transmitted from an infinite being, you understand, which is the master of all he surveys, who makes no mistakes according to the Quran. Let's ask ourselves this. If he chose someone to transmit that message to, would that message be clear enough for the recipient of that message to take on board and then to transmit? I say the argument is no, and I'll tell you the reason why. If you look, whether you read, whether it's from a Quranic viewpoint or whether it's from either Bukhari or Dawood or Tirmidhi, one thing that I notice is simply this. The story of how it came about, because Muhammad in the first instance did not say that he was spoken to by the angel Gabriel or the angel Jibreel. He never said that. The argument was, we can go to the uncle in a minute, you understand, but if you want to go to Bukhari, if you want to go to the first verse, I think it's
You would feel exactly the same way if you was in
the
that
second
position.
part in
It's a
Bukhari,
supernatural thing, you're not really scared.
as transmitted, by Aisha, this was from Bukhari, you understand, everybody understand the Islam. This came from Bukhari, and this was the story. Muhammad told Aisha that he was in a cave. This was the story from Muhammad. Sorry? Yeah, that's right. Sorry. When I'm thinking about the Bukhari, it came from Aisha. That's where that whole Islam came from. The point that I was making is a simple one. He said he was in a cave, and he said that he didn't say initially that he heard a voice. A voice was heard, and then in Bukhari, yeah, I'm going to tell you what he said. In the chapter of Bukhari, it says that he was gripped. Yeah, he said he was gripped, and he was gripped 3 times.
He said he couldn't bear it anymore.
And he said he couldn't bear it anymore. He then went and transmitted this to his wife. But if you go back, and then you go back to the story of Abu Bakr, because I'm saying, from my perspective, whilst I have a great deal of respect for Islam and many of the things that it says, it doesn't mean that I'm a religionist, and I'll tell you the reason why. Muhammad, according to everything we have been taught, could not read, but we know that Abu Bakr could. When Muhammad went and spoke to Abu Bakr, it was Abu Bakr that said that you have been spoken to by the angel Jibreel. No. Hold a second. That's right. But I'm gonna mention something about that. Well, hold a second. There was a conversation. You understand? There was a conversation between Muhammad when Muhammad left, and he went to his father-in-law, and he said to his father-in-law, you understand, about what happened and the voice that was heard. Yeah, if you told me I'm wrong, I will accept it. Yeah, but I know that I'm not. Yeah, but hold on 1 second, so I'm nearly finished. He said that he had heard a voice, yeah, from the so-called creator of the world, and he said that this was transmitted to him via. Muhammad didn't say this. You understand? His father-in-law. It isn't. Yeah. Hold on 1 second, sir. He said that the Quran doesn't make any mistakes. You know that. Yeah. He said that what he was given, his father-in-law said came from the angel Jibreel. I think we're asking the wrong question. I genuinely do. I think the question we should be asking is, what was the religion? 2 questions. What was the religion of Muhammad before he allegedly went into the cave? And what was the religion of his father-in-law before he went into the cave?
His father-in-law?
Pardon? Well, hold a second. I'm asking this as a question. I already know what the answer is.
Why his uncle?
Well, hold on. Sir, just 1 moment. It's a very simple question. I'm just asking you, before Muhammad went into the cave, did Muhammad have a religion? And what did he follow? Did his father-in-law have a religion? And what did he follow?
He didn't have a father-in-law.
Are you talking about the wife's uncle? Khadijah's uncle. He was a Christian.
He was what we call a Hanif, the prophet.
Right.
A Hanif is basically someone that believes that there is a God, one God, and that's
Right.
it.
Now,
So we never had an actual religion then?
No.
right.
Okay.
Well, we knew there were 360 religions in
No,
that particular place. Well, they were
Idols.
But you say that they're idols, yeah? Idols is just a perception based on a space and time continuum. Depending where you came into the world, you would have a particular belief. All I'm asking you is simply...
Is an idol a statue? Something that you make with your own
You
hands?
say it's an idol.
I'm asking.
Well, I'm saying to you, I'm
They don't say
going
it's an
by
idol.
the scholarly work that I've read, yeah, about those 360 idols. And I'm saying, what did Abu Bakr, what did Muhammad, what did them all, before he went into that cave, study? Well, study. What religion were they?
Christians?
I don't know what they were, but I think
They believe in one God. But
Well,
they
Abu
follow-
Bakr.
No, at the time.
I don't know about Abu
already
Bakr and them
know-
lot.
We already know. If we're going
We
by
know
scripture-
Prophet Muhammad, but
Yeah,
we don't
we're
know
going
about
by
the Sahaba.
exactly.
If we're gonna be honest, we don't
already
know.
know.
They could have
we already
been
know
pagans
that
for all
Abu
we know.
Bakr,
We don't know.
Yeah, knew about the Prophet Jibreel or the Prophet Gabriel. Where would he have known about that from?
From Christianity?
Pardon? Who is it, sir? No, that's not the point I'm making. I'm saying to you, of course he wouldn't have been Muslim yet. Yeah, that
it hasn't
goes
started
without,
yet.
it goes without saying because it hadn't started. Sir,
Yeah. Where would you have heard the term Gabriel
Can I just
from?
say
Where would you have heard
Can I just say,
Christians? Exactly.
Let's
But wait,
No, sir. Listen. No.
let's continue.
No.
Let's continue.
I genuinely like you, and I think you're clever enough to understand what I'm saying. I'm asking what religion, what did they study? Because I'll tell you the reason why. In the hadith of Bukhari, it was made clear that what Muhammad heard in the cave was the angel Jibreel.
He was told that, yes.
He was told that. Who told him that?
The uncle.
Someone connected
Who?
to the
What is his name?
Khadijah. Someone connected
What
to
was
Khadijah.
his name?
Waraq bin Nawf,
Thank you.
yeah.
What religion was he?
I think he may have been a Christian or something. Yeah.
Right. Here's the problem that I have.
Yes.
Muhammad said that I had heard voices. It seemed as if he may well have had what we today would call seizures, because he said if you've ever studied someone who had a seizure, one of the things those recitations too.
The people that were there.
Pardon?
The people that were there.
Just I'm asking you, who would he have given it to?
The people he's preaching to.
Thank you very much. Whatever was written down, would Muhammad have been able to read it?
Nope.
Nope. Pardon? Yeah, I know, because they say it's an
you
oral
can't read.
tradition.
Yeah.
I understand that. It's an oral tradition, and I accept that. The point that I'm making is that would he be able to read what was written down?
Nothing. The point is, I get what you're saying,
Thank you.
but there's nothing to read because there's nothing written down. It was oral.
So then what did the angel ask him to read?
Listen to him. So
Recite.
they would have.
Ikra means to.
No, they say
Ikra
just simply
means
to
read and
That's what it
recite.
means.
No.
Don't argue against another man's language, bro. That's Arabic for you.
Sir,
That's
It doesn't
silly.
make sense because
Can I just say,
So-
I'm not explaining
A
myself
word can mean
properly.
different
if
things.
I came to you and I
It
said recite,
Yeah.
why would your next reply be I do not know how to read? You would say, I do not know what you're asking me to recite. That would be your response. If I said
difference-
recite, you would say, well, recite what? Or I don't know why. He said read, and he said, I do not know how to read.
You're being a
Muhammad
bit-
knew how to
Bro,
recite.
You're just saying the same thing.
No, but he knew how to recite. So why would he say he can't do it?
Bro, I heard you.
Can I just,
Let me just
10
quickly
seconds,
respond to
10
that.
seconds.
You
Quickly,
misinterpreted
10
the
seconds.
angel.
Quickly,
One word, 10 seconds.
quickly.
The
English
problem-
and Arabic
Sir.
are not the same thing. English have read and then they have recite.
Right.
Two separate things.
That's fine.
You can give two separate responses to. But in Arabic,
Right.
much older, much more advanced, one word can mean two different things.
Okay.
Therefore, you can falsely assume that it
So
means one
he
thing.
was confused. He thought you meant read something. He
Bro,
said,
he's seeing a supernatural being right in front of him.
He didn't-
What do you want?
You believe it?
Are you surprised that
Can
he
I
didn't
just say
confuse?
to you,
No, the
that's
story.
not true.
No, wait.
He didn't say that he saw anyone.
I know, but let me finish.
Wait.
Wait. If
The
you are in
second
the
occasion,
presence,
he said he
They
saw him in
didn't
the
see
form of a
anyone.
human.
if you are,
Sir, he said he saw him in the form
if you are in
of
the
a man.
presence, wait.
That's what it
Hang on.
says.
Let's
Sir,
not
Mr.
argue.
Holmes,
I wanna
that
hear
was
what
me,
he's
I'm telling you as a fact. The second time he said that he saw him in the form
Let's
of a man. Sir, that's not the point that I'm making. I'm saying the first time he saw nobody. The second
Who was in that cave with him then?
Sir,
mountain.
Sir, can I
Good
just say
question.
to you,
Who was in that cave with him?
And that's a question. Can I just say to you, this is unarguable. Yeah, according to the hadith of Bukhari. You understand? And according to every scholarlistic work that I've seen, at no time did Muhammad say that he saw anybody in that cave. I'll get the hadith for you. Well, if you go, sir, one minute. If you go,
So did he
that's
just
not
hear
what
a voice?
That's not what I said. They
said
the
something
second
grips them up.
time he saw him, he said he
Something's
saw
gripping you up. Did you not see
someone
them?
looking like a man. Yeah, this is what he said. The first time when he left
Brothers,
that
come on,
cave,
let's expand a little bit.
first time, this is
what I
not
mean.
arguable. No Muslim here can tell me this is arguable. The first time he went and said what had occurred, he said he saw nobody. You understand? There is nowhere.
Talking about on that occasion only.
So I'm talking about the first thing. Remember, we're talking about the start. We're talking about the start of Islam. The first time he saw nobody. After he spoke and said what had happened, somebody else told him it was the angel Gabriel. But that's not the point that I'm making. That's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is if we accept, as he said, that there is a God, I'm prepared to accept that. If he says that this God is infinite, I'm even prepared to accept that.
That's what I did.
If he says this God makes no mistakes, I will even go further and say that I'm prepared to accept that. Let me tell you the problem. No, one moment. The one problem, just one moment, I'll come to you. The one problem that I have is simply this. If this God, if it does say, sir, in Tadmini it does say that, but you want to bring the story much further than I'm prepared to go at the moment. I'm talking about the start. Yeah, I'm talking about, sir, I'm talking. Well, hold on a second. Sir, if
Let him make
starts
his
from
point.
the beginning,
Let him make his
when
point.
this man spoke earlier and he was speaking about how space works and how the earth expands, he said that it started somewhere. He said it started, you said it started at a point. I'm going back to the original point where Islam
like
starts.
that.
Yeah,
Go on.
absolutely.
Go
And
on.
so I'm saying
Go
that
on,
I'm
what's it?
prepared to accept that whoever is that being may well be able to transmit message. Here the problem that I have, and it's a simple one. A God so perfect, so magnificent, so all-knowing, he has the 99 attributes plus one. He's the beneficent, he's the merciful, he's the master of all he surveys, transmits a message in a way that who you transmit it
Can I
to
leave it to me?
initially
Leave it
does
to me,
not
please.
know how to answer it. He has to go for clarification. He has to go from clarification from someone else to get that message and find out what it is. He then gets these particular seizures over a 23-year period, and hey presto, the Quran. I'm sorry. If you accept that story, everybody here should accept the story, as I said previously, of Jade the Emperor in China. Because it's virtually the same story. Yeah, Isanagi in Japan, it's the same story. You understand? Quetzalcoatl in Mexico, it's virtually the same story. I can name you the gods from all over the world who have a fairly similar story. I don't accept it. If you say, well, what do you accept? Do you accept anything in Islam? There are many things that I accept and love in Islam. I understand in Islam when they speak about usury, you understand, and the harmful effects on that. That is fantastic, you understand. I like the way in which they speak about the division of property, you understand, and the right for women in Islam. That is fantastic. But that
Your
in and
issue
of
is the
itself does not make it a holy book. The beginning of the story is nonsensical, and what you should do is study Abu Bakr, because you guys are not looking at Mohammedanism, you're looking at Abu Bakrism.
Give me a chance to respond.
Hey.
Well said. Good
Abu
question.
Bakrism.
No. Well said. Good
Abu
question.
Bakrism.
At this particular academic side of things, my brother's got the hadith.
Yes, sir.
Please explain how Gabriel was
Let me get
introduced.
the hadith as well.
Yeah, brother. Hey, why don't you read it for us, brother?
Not very good. I read some, but I'm not as good as
Brother,
you.
can you read it for us? Yeah.
Read it out loud.
Basically, this is in Arabic. Let me just read it in Arabic, yeah?
No, read it in English. There's be no point. Everyone's gonna be like,
It's just translation. Anyway, the Prophet ﷺ first seen Jibreel alayhi salam in his dream.
Where is it?
This is in Tirmidhi. Surah Tirmidhi, جاءت عن أبي الأسود عن عروة عن
So
عائشة
first
رضي
he
الله
sees
عنها.
him in a dream.
Yeah. This is
And
Aisha
then?
Aisha.
This is the first time, yeah?
Yeah, first time.
The very first
So-
time he sees him in a
so
dream.
there's
Second
a-
time?
It says a jihad, like there's an area called jihad.
Second
So
time he
Prophet
sees
was
him on
walking.
road.
Yeah. And then صرخ
this
جبريل,
Al-Tamidi
and then
now?
Jibreel shouts, "Oh Muhammad, oh Muhammad." فهرب, then the Prophet ﷺ looked right, he didn't see nothing. He looked left, he didn't see nothing. Then he looked up, and then he saw Jibreel alayhi salam, in the heavens. So he got scared, and he ran, and he went into the people, amongst the people. Then after that he came from out, from amongst the people, and then استعلن له جبريل. And he استعلن, it's like as in he called out, say like this is me, I'm Jibreel. So he introduced himself. من قبل حراء.
So this is all before the cave.
Before the cave.
This is all before the cave. All right.
And then فذكر قصة إقرائه. Then after that the قصة of إقرأ.
Yeah.
إقرأ after that.
After that was the cave.
Yeah. And now
So he
he's
had
saying here-
3.
Yeah. Now in here, you're saying this. I've got this
Allahu
riwayah.
Akbar.
But to be honest as well, in this riwayah, they say that it could be weak narration. But there's another riwayah in Tirmidhi that makes this one strong. There's another riwayah from another direction that makes this
So
story
this
strong.
hadith in question.
It's before the cave, yeah. So I said first in a dream, and then he's seen it in the heavens, and then after that,
And he introduced himself as well.
And when he was leaving the cave, if I remember correct, there was a hadith where when the Prophet is running, he actually tells him,
Yeah.
look, I'm Gabriel,
That's
and
right.
you are the Prophet of Allah.
according to this in Arabic, it's ta'lan, like he called that.
There
He
you
said
go.
like this one.
Let me just
So,
say to you, I understand
worth
that.
studying.
It's worth
Worth
studying,
studying.
but it's
Okay.
completely disingenuous, and I'm going to tell
We
you.
don't know that.
Well, sir, I'm going to
This
tell
is
you
the same
why it is. I'm
Al-Tamidi,
going to tell you why.
right? That said you struck the right shoulder
I do.
and the black offspring, left shoulder, white offspring. It's the same Al-Tamidi.
Can we all accept?
It's the same Al-Tamidi. bro.
Don't start something, man.
No.
We're at one place now.
But can he be
Sir,
trusted,
it's
bro? That's
simple.
all I'm saying.
Stop the worms, man.
Can we all accept?
Try to bring the worms out of the can.
Can everybody here accept that the narration or the oral tradition or the isnad, whatever we wish to call it, is an interpretation or is things that someone has said to someone else who's passed it on? This is the oral tradition. When you look at Tirmidhi, he's given the term Sahih, which simply means authentic. Yeah, we understand that. But there are other Sahis, in Islam. There are 6 major Sahis in Islam.
Sahih? 6?
6. I know some people may say 4, but there's 6. I just want to read this to you, just one moment. Just follow me a second.
So, can I say one thing?
Yeah, of course you
Very
can.
quick. So, are we going to base whether he got the message
No, that's
based
not what I'm saying.
on...
No,
on
that's
that?
not what we're saying.
Yeah, all right, cool.
The point that I'm making is that, and I understand what you said, and I appreciate what you said, and I will look at that even deeper. But when I start discussing anything, I will actually go to the very beginning. That is not the beginning. Do you understand? We know that's before the
We can't pick and choose. They're both here.
Let me just say to you, I understood the text that he said because I've read it quite a few times. You understand? If you knew my background, you understand, he would know that I've read it. You understand? Reading and understanding are 2 different things. You understand? So I may well accept that I may well not have understood it the way in which he understood it. And my ego is not so puffed up that I will not say that. However, I want to read you this, for example. This is very important. Right, this is Sahih Bukhari, yes, 001 Hadith 002. Okay? Right. It says, narrated by Aisha. Yeah, that's the mother of the faithful believers, Al-Harith bin Hisham. Asked Allah's apostle, alayhi salam, O Allah's apostle, how is the divine inspiration revealed to you? Allah's apostle replied, sometimes it is revealed like the ringing of a bell. This form of inspiration is the hardest of all, and then this state passes. After I've grasped what is inspired, sometimes the angel comes in the form of a man.
Yeah, we do have hadith.
So, I'm just saying, sometimes the angel comes in the form of a man. But remember, in the first instance, It wasn't in the form of a man, it was in the form of a voice. He saw nothing. Pardon? So, sir, let me just say to you, first and foremost, I haven't read that it was a dream. You understand? That's not what was said. When he pointed out, this, I'll show you, that's the hadith here, sir. Yeah, that's the hadith there.
Is that the query?
Hold on. The point that I make, because I'm going back to the beginning. Yeah, you guys want to push the story a little bit further. I'm going to the big. Well, hold on a second. Well, I'm reading what Aisha says. You can't say before the cave. You can't, and I'll tell you the reason why you can't say that. Because there was no Islam before the cave.
No. But the Prophet is saying what happened to him in meeting. Or Jibreel, the sight of Jibreel alayhi salam. Yeah. You can't talk about that. If you became Muslim, you don't talk about what happened before.
Sir, let me just say to you, firstly, there was no Islam before this. You understand? Many people, I know he will say that we've always had Islam. Sir, and he's allowed to do that. That's not the problem I have. I'm talking, well, can I just say to you, you get the message from him, which has been told to you by someone else. Well, you say that, but let me just go back to this because this is very important. He says, I've grasped what is required. Sometimes the angel comes in the form of a man and talks to me, and I grasp whatever he says. Aisha added, verily I saw the Prophet being inspired divinely on a very cold day, and noticed the sweat dripping from his forehead. We can go on, and then it says,
About the 23 years,
Sir.
he's constantly getting the message.
hold on a second. Hold on a second.
So according to this, you can verify
I'm actually trying to help you here. Yeah, and I'll tell you the reason why. If I wasn't trying to help you, I would stick with what happened initially in the cave. You understand my argument? My argument is not that Muhammad shouldn't have received any inspiration. My thing is that he received allegedly an inspiration that he. Well, hold on. Allegedly.
From a man in a cave.
Allegedly. He didn't say that it was from Jibril. That's the point that I'm
Someone
making.
else said it.
Somebody else said it's from Jibril. I've gone to the park. Boy, you know what? I heard somebody saying this to me today. I've gone and I've seen homeboy, and he said, "Oh, you know that was blah blah blah," and I go, "Oh, I didn't know that." Respect. It makes no sense whatsoever. And so I'm saying,
I'm waiting. I've got it. Trust me. I know about
There's
that.
no verification.
That was my second route. That was my second route.
If you understood what was happening in Arabia at that particular time, and I've mentioned this previously, and Arabia, the south of Arabia, was riven
Use a
with
bit of this a little
warfare.
bit
It
more,
was
bro.
riven with tribal warfare.
You're more into your
Abu Bakr,
feelings. You have an agenda
Abu
clearly,
Bakr,
bro.
Alright.
and
Because if
all of them
at
were
least
business
intellectually
people.
argue
You
things.
understand? They had seen the Christians.
Anything that is put forward
They'd
to
seen
you.
the Christians and they'd seen the Jews. You understand?
Most of it
Being
is feelings.
so-called
You do, I'll give you that.
West.
But there's
And
feelings
they
behind it.
power that gave them because they say they were from the Abrahamic tradition. I have no problem with that. Now, someone who is from the Abrahamic tradition, who Muhammad spoke to, said the voice that you heard.
Guys, let's back up a little bit, please. Guys, please back up, please back up.
He would only have known of Jibreel if he had read the books from those Abrahamic traditions. And so all of a sudden, you look at the books that were allegedly revealed, and hey presto, it mirrors a great deal of what's in the Bible. Apart from certain, so every prophet that was in those Abrahamic traditions suddenly appears in the Quran.
Give me a chance now.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
We've heard you for quite some time.
So all you have to do is tell me to stop, and I'll stop. I don't mind.
Alright. With all due respect, I suspect
I'm
that
done. That's all I wanted to say.
I suspected from the beginning of the conversation that the point that you wanted to get to was that the Quran was copied from the Bible.
That's not what I said.
I'm not saying that that's what you're saying.
No, that's not what I
but hear what I'm
said.
saying to you. But if we, did you not just lastly say it matches
You're not
a
going to
lot?
say it, I'll say it.
It matches a lot the Bible. Is that not what you
That's
just
not what I
said?
said. No, that's not what I said.
No, just now.
No, I said to you that I said that these stories are all over the world. Yeah, these very same stories, and I'm telling you, the more I have read, the more disturbed I have become. So I don't listen to what people have said. I go and read for myself, and it's very odd. And you know, I've been. You just said the last point. I've been lucky enough to be able to travel and study this stuff, and I'm telling you, it's alarming beyond belief. And most of these religions that we're speaking about they appeared on the earth before Islam.
Okay. All right. Let me respond to this now. Well, yes, you are right. The stories in the Quran are not exclusive to the Quran. However, we've never claimed that it was. This is what people get mixed up all the time. We have never claimed that Prophet Muhammad is the only messenger. Nor have we claimed that there is this new creator. Nor have we claimed that the stories in the Quran are exclusive to the Quran alone.
You've claimed that he's the last prophet.
Yes,
and
but
that's a hell of a claim to make.
Not necessarily. Wait. Him being the last prophet
Yes.
does not contradict why the stories are similar to other stories that were out there. It just means that it came from the same source, hence him being the last.
Allegedly.
So this, allegedly, speaking from my point of view.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Do you accept it could be wrong?
no, wait. Now, so we don't have a problem with that at all, that there are stories out there that's similar to this one. We don't have a problem with
They
it.
say stories, they say that it's religious texts.
You catch my drift.
Yes.
The religious texts
Yes, sir.
that are in other books before the Quran, we do not claim exclusivity. So that's irrelevant. Number one. Number two, if we were to assume that the Quran has been copied from other stories, other religious texts, from other religious books, then why has it not also copied all the contradictions and everything that's false? Does not make sense.
What do you mean?
You find contradictions.
Like Moses and Pharaoh.
You
mean that
find
kind of
contradictions. That's not a contradiction, based because you don't accept it. Doesn't make it a
You
contradiction.
ain't even found it.
No. You not accepting it doesn't make it a contradiction. A contradiction is when when something says something here and it completely over there. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Like
we don't
it says
have
Moses
that.
and Pharaoh, and then over there we can't find it.
According to you. According to you.
Accord-
As far as we know, doesn't make it false. But that's not
But
an
doesn't make
argument.
it true either.
Fine.
But you
So-
but you profess that it's true.
But I profess it's true because it came from Allah, not because of Moses. Why
you
do you
don't-
always stuck
you
on the
don't know.
Moses story?
Allegedly.
Anyways,
You just
It's
proved
all
my
allegedly,
point.
bro.
Allegedly,
You know what I'm saying?
from
It's
my
all
point.
allegedly, bro.
Listen,
You just
bottom
gotta
line,
believe this stuff.
if we're going to say that the Quran has been copied from other books,
I didn't say that. I said that there are elements of the story that has been copied, and I'm just saying it's very odd that Noah is in the Bible, well, hold on a second.
What makes it odd if it's from the same
But can I
source?
just say to you,
Yeah.
I'm
Same peoples.
saying it's from the same source, yeah, but with a cultural tint towards those who wrote it, and that's the reason why you have very similar books which appear very
can I
strangely.
just interrupt you there?
that you have
No,
very
you just
similar
made a
books
statement that we have to
all
clarify.
over the world.
No, we have
All
to
over the
clarify
world.
this.
Yes, sir.
And that
We
is
have
why
to
they all
clarify
reject
this.
you.
Let him
No,
clarify it.
we have to clarify this, and I suspect this is the problem that most people have with Islam. You said cultural pretext. What cultural pretext are there in Islam?
Well, I can tell you.
Arabs.
Well, I can tell you. And perhaps I didn't explain myself, so I'll explain it like this.
Please.
What I was saying to the gentleman here is that at that particular time in Arabia was riven with internecine warfare and struggles. That is not an argument. It was also problematic because at the Kaaba, there were over 360 idols which were worshipped at the Kaaba.
You're
at
not
that
answering my
particular-
question, with all
So
due
I'm going to
respect.
answer it, sir. I'm going to answer it. And
Without evading
I'm not evading it.
Okay.
There were over 360 idols there. I'm saying that those Arabs sought to conduct and make a power base for themselves, which is why they came up with that particular story. In as much
Which
the
story?
same way, well, hold on a minute.
The
Yeah,
one in the
regarding
Quran.
the Quran. In as
About-
much the just one moment. In as much the same
trying to
way.
follow you, that's
In as much the same way, if you look, for example, at the Brahmarata is culturally tilted to the people of Southeast Asia. You understand? No matter which book you look at or which deity that you look at, their books are particular to the people who have written it.
How
if
is
you-
it particular?
well,
We're gonna have to get there now.
Well, I've just said to you.
No, you
I'm
haven't.
going to tell you why
Yeah.
it's particular.
Yeah.
Because number one, you say that Muhammad is the last prophet. So not only is he the last prophet, but he was given a revelation that the two other so-called Abrahamic faiths had not received.
I never claimed that.
But hold on, I'm going to explain
never
what I mean.
claimed that.
Sir, I'm going to explain what I mean.
Just be accurate, that's all.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, that they didn't receive. Because
We've never
nowhere,
claimed that.
well, hold on a second.
But that's not fair.
Nowhere
You can't-
in the Torah.
you can't impose
I'm
on
gonna
us
say
a
to you, Let me
criteria.
explain it to you. Nowhere in the Torah,
Yeah.
nowhere in the Torah, as far as I've read, nowhere in the Injil.
You haven't read the Injil.
Well, hold on a second. Nowhere in the Torah or the Injil.
You haven't read the Injil.
Sir, can I just finish my point?
Be truthful at least. You haven't read the
Sir,
Injil.
let me tell you this.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. I've actually sat down and read what I believe are the authentic manuscripts.
What you believe.
But hold on. I can only tell you what I've read. I can't tell you whether it's true.
Okay, but with all due respect,
Let me just finish my point, sir. Let me just finish my point.
I have to interrupt. I have to. Give me a minute. 1 minute.
10 seconds.
No, what? Okay.
Yeah, 10 seconds. What's in that book is fundamentally different to what's in the other two Abrahamic faith books.
To see more videos like this, subscribe to Titans TV down below. Thanks.
Calling Django. The greatest darky that bite with shark teeth and hate malarkey. Who you? The greatest heartbeat. Ancient Egypt as a matriarchy. Who me? The one with the S on his chest when a motherfucker go by. Who you? The one everybody calls your highness cause the weed got you feeling so high.